sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Getting fired sucks. Happened to me when I was in my late 40s. Now, I'm a reasonably smart guy. I had a pretty good retirement plan. It was a dozen years out. It wasn't when it happened, right? Nobody likes getting that call, or now what we see online of people get these group calls, and if you're on this call, your job has been terminated immediately. And they get a bit of benefits. I have to be honest, I had a couple of benefits to fall back upon, but the end result is this isn't your plan. This is not when I intended to go, right? Every one of us are going to lose the job we're in right now at some point. You're going to die, you're going to retire, you're going to quit, or you're going to be fired. And so none of us get to keep what we're doing right now. The point is that what the mistake that I made really that impacted is I didn't have a plan B, right? I didn't have any strategy of what happens when this career ends. And I had the type of job where you think you have it for life, right? You're on this big, long contract. You've got all these pension benefits, etc. You work in the public service. You think this is just, as people call it, cash for life. And then it ends abruptly at a time not of your choosing. And it's not when I wanted to go. And it's not with the benefits that I wanted. And here we are. And you've got to make that call. And I didn't have that plan, right? I had no strategy as to what am I going to do now that I've lost my job. And I've had to try to figure that out. And a lot of the mistakes that I made, and I'm going to list the top 3 mistakes that I made to help you out, and hopefully these will find some lessons and you can learn from the mistakes that I made. The first one, like I said, is not having a plan B, right? I had nowhere to go. I didn't have it figured out as to what Jeff was going to do next. What am I going to be when I'm no longer doing this role? And that's an important thing, and you got to figure that out, and I don't know what it is. I've got a member of my family who went from an executive and he's now training to be a tradesperson, and he thinks it's the best thing in the world. He's in his late 50s and he's learning to be a tradesperson. And I think it's brilliant, right? Because he has a plan. But I didn't have one of those. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and everything came crashing down around me, and I had to try to figure it out on the go. And here I am, several years later, doing something completely different than I thought I would be doing. The second big lesson is to have your finances ready. And what does that mean? That means that I never had a cushion. I never had a big bank account. I didn't have a big set aside because, again, I was working in a job. I was living an awesome life. I had no resilience built in. I just thought the checks would keep coming. The job would be there. Life was awesome. It's just how it's supposed to be, right? Well, that ends pretty quick for some of us. And so I didn't have any chunk of cash set aside. So I think from that lesson, you really got to understand now in inflation times now, it's really hard to say to somebody, hey, squirrel away 6 months of money when you're trying to just make rent at the end of the month. But the end result is that what I didn't do was have any type of set aside. So I had a whole bunch of scrambling to do in a very short period of time to try to fix that. And number 3 is have some passions. Right? And it doesn't sound logical, but really in that bridge gap when you're leaving your old position abruptly and you're trying to find something new, there has to be something to bring joy and happiness into your life because it's a pretty doldrum part of the world. And it's just having a couple of those things. And for me, it was really simple. I like backcountry canoeing, right? I like golf. I have 2 things. I'm not a complicated guy. So I made sure that I could keep doing those things to bring me a little joy and happiness while I navigated it. And I think the big lesson and the takeaway from this is you're going to get fired, right? You're going to lose this job you're in. And don't make the mistakes that I made. Have a bit of a preparation plan. Have a bit of a time set aside. Have a bit of money set aside. Have an idea. What would I do when I get fired? That's an incredible strategy to have. I didn't have it. I had to figure it out on the fly. And I really hope these help for you.